The Black Fat Femme Podcast is a production of iHeartRadio and Dr. John Paul, LLC. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Black Fat Femme Podcast, where all the intersections of identity are celebrated. I'm one of your hosts, John, also known as Dr. John Paul, and I just have to say that a smile is something special. A ribbon is something rare. So I'll be special and I'll be rare with a smile and a ribbon in my hair. Yes. If you don't know, I am referencing Welcome to Derry, probably one of the best shows that have ever come out of the HBO Max universe. But with that being said, yes, Welcome to Derry is one of my favorite shows. So yes, how are you, mamas? How you doing?
Whew.
How you holding up?
Girl, first of all, I am sipping some Sir Davis whiskey.
Okay, so she said I want to be drunk on the show. Got it.
First of all, she says she wants to be fun on the show. First of all,
Okay.
If you see, it is a half glass. It is like 2 ounces, and it's a sipping
One
drink.
sip will take you out. Yes.
Put hair in your chest, girl. I don't know who.
Have you ever had it before?
No, this is my first time. So I had got a bottle for my
girl.
birthday, and I've had a day. So I said, let me crack this bitch open and have a sip.
Right.
Girl,
Yeah.
She'll
get you.
I don't understand who, like, Beyonce's built different and she be drinking this at home. She built different than I am, and I'll give her that because there's no damn way I'm going to drink this
It's a
whole
2025 drink.
thing. Girl, it's strong.
It is very strong.
I don't think, like...
It is very strong.
Ugh.
Yeah. I said that it tastes like an uncle drink. Like, you know, like your black uncles?
Yes,
it tastes like a black uncle.
It tastes like it's giving unk. But I'm not giving unk. I'm giving punk because I could not.
I'm not saying that about you. I'm saying it's like domino table.
I'm giving punk because this is
yes.
I mean,
it's giving domino
I feel
table.
fuck up some spades right now with this for sure. But I would not drink more than, and mind you, like the ice may look bigger. It really is to right here. I literally couldn't. I would not finish. I would not finish the whole. I would not finish it. This is. Yeah. It's so bad. Like it's. I'm sure people who love whiskey, it's good. To
heavy.
Me, tis not pleasing to me in my palate.
But do you like it? Is the question. Because that's what the girls are gonna ask. Is it good?
No, but to me,
okay.
That's because I'm not a big whiskey girl. Like I can work. I'm sure if I made a mixed drink with this, yes. Mm-hmm. You know, if I did like a Jack and like a Sir Davis and Coke, maybe. Yeah. And like the smallest smallest amount of this, but this is rough for you, girl.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Sip. You did one sip and you're like, yeah, I'm done. I
did one sip and I said, I'm good. I've done everything I
don't know why I asked for this for my birthday. Shout out to my friend for getting my birthday. Bless your soul. But I don't know why I asked for this because I do not know how I'll drink a whole bottle at any point in my life with this. But I'll just say, lovies, it's your bestie Jordan, aka Joho. And I'll have to agree with you, John, that Welcome to Derry is one of the best shows out right now. I'll say along with Heated Rivalry, because I am sat for that show. It's a bunch of white, it's about a bunch of white foolishness, but I love to see it. And listen, baby, the butts. Okay, listen, you haven't watched it yet, John. Watch for the butts alone, because this white man is caked up on any given day. You're okay? That's okay. You know,
I'm okay.
You want to hate art? Okay, fine.
I'm not hating art. So this is my take on it, and we're gonna leave it here. I am in a place where I have said the reason why we keep getting down low, straight white content is because we keep watching these shows, and so execs think that these are the shows that we want to see. So I have told myself, my partner has watched it. I said I am okay with not watching it because that is not the content that I want. I'm really trying to, so like honestly, in my 2026, I'm really trying to decolonize everything. Like I'm trying to decolonize the shows I watch. I'm trying to decolonize the porn, all of it, anything and everything related to to me or to anything related to what I do. I'm really trying to be intentional about decolonizing it. And so it is starting with me saying, no, I do not need to watch that show. I watch Boots. And I said, that's enough. I said, I'm good. After Boots, I said, I'm good. So we're good. I don't need to see it.
Got it. Well, if y'all ain't watching these shows, baby, what are you doing? If you're only watching one show, you're only getting half the story. So
If you, what is that from?
Untucked. If you
okay,
are watching
yes.
Untucked,
I was like,
you're only getting half the story.
I was going to say that sounds so fucking familiar, but I don't know what it is. Okay, it felt super familiar, but I was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, is that Real World? Yeah, that's how old I am. Yeah, that is literally how old I am. But anyway, all that to be said, we are going to kick off the show honoring our girl, Miss Tisha Campbell, like we do every week. And we've gotten a lot of questions about why Tisha ain't on the show yet. So that is a manifestation for 2026. 2026.
When she can get on the show, y'all. Someone wants to help us.
We are going to
get on the show.
Who wants to help us? We need, help me, bitch. Like I support me, bitch. I need support. Let's get Tisha on the show in 2026. But with that being said, I wanted to open the show. We've been talking about it all week. We've been texting and going back and forth about it. And so you had brought up, and I said, I don't think we should do a whole entire episode about it because there are a lot of things that we need to get to this week. Mm-hmm. But I was going to say, from what you had listed in the topics or the things that we could be talking about this week, you had made mention that you were like, why is Gen X one of the best generations to like exist? And I said, oh, that'd be great for us to have maybe more of a like, what kind of art from the 99 and the 2000s changed our life, right? Like, so we could talk about how Gen X, their work, how that encouraged us to be who we are, and ultimately talk about how it changed us as creators or as people that are navigating a lot of different creative spaces. And so I wanted to say, I immediately went to, I said, full moon. That is, you know that about me. Anybody who knows this about me knows. I believe, and I know Michael is. I have multiple albums of Michael, and I have Michael Jackson's "Dangerous" looking at me on the wall, like, "Girl, you really gonna say that?" I believe that Full Moon is one of the best albums to ever be created. Period, hands down. It is. And I did a whole podcast about my love for that album and why I think that album is the best. But yes, I believe that album. What I learned talking to somebody who works in the industry, they said, for me loving that album, it's because it's a soundscape. And I don't know if you know what a soundscape is, but basically it's the ability to see music. And so anytime I hear that album or anytime I hear blips of that album, it literally in my head, I visually can see the music playing from that album. And I think that's what made me like fall in love with that album so much. And so I just wanted to say, I think Brandy is probably one of the most innovative and one of the most creative singers, second to Beyonce, but she's up there for me. And I believe that album did it. I will also say an honorable mention in terms of television, since we were talking about that too. And we're going to be talking a lot about television today. I wanted to mention, please judge me accordingly, Norbit. I know. Have you ever seen Norbit? I'm asking. I don't know your life like that, sis.
We've discussed Rasputia several times together.
Okay. I just want to make sure you've seen it. My God, what is going on?
I feel so offended. As if
you shouldn't be.
I don't share your love of historically black films that changed the culture. Yes.
Okay, so we can run it back. I can say, my love of Norbit.
I did watch Norbit.
And Rasputia and how problematic that film is.
Yes.
That whole clip, my favorite clip is when she's walking out the house and the dog, and the lady's like, "Hi, Rasputia." She's like, "Don't hi to me." She's like, "You keep that bug-eyed dog off my grass, or that little dog is literally going off." And then she gets in the car, and she's literally just going off on him about, my titties make the horn go hum. That ain't right. That is literally my favorite part of that movie, so it's terrible. But with that being said, second to Bridesmaids, yes, I know all the words to both of those films. I just really love, and I'll say this too, and this is, again, we're going to be talking about TV and film about the 90s and 2000s. I just miss when TV and film was silly. Like, I just feel like a lot of stuff now is so heavy, but I just feel like the 90s and the 2000s, everything was so silly. But anyway, moving on, I did want to say, like, one, can we come up with something else? But also, two, is there anything from the 90s and the 2000s that, like, really inspire you?
So first, I'll say, I don't know how I feel about you. Now, yes, have I seen Norbit? Yes. I don't know how I feel about you calling Norbit art. Like, I'm like, would you call it art? It's giving Megami protect queer art. And I'm like,
yes,
really,
yes.
But Bridesmaids, I would say yes.
Okay.
Because, like, whenever someone says, like, I know the owner, I'm like, oh, Helen knows the owner. Oh,
yeah.
Like, I love that shit.
Well, you're a cunt. And that is my favorite part of the film. Your little cunt. And the way that whole scene, like when he made her pack up her shit, I said, oh yes, oh yes.
And he was like, she was like, what's your name? Is Stove? Oh, it's Steve. Are you an appliance?
Appliance.
Fucking live.
Why don't we keep this open? It's the 90s. Yes.
So I rock with you on Bridesmaid. I rock with you on Full Moon, obviously. You know, if you think Norbit is art, I still love and support you in all your endeavors, and I wish you the best from afar.
Thank you, sis.
And I will always support you to the end of time.
Please,
just wait over here where actual art is made.
Where the art resides.
Where the art resides.
Yeah. Where the art resides. Where the art resides. Where the art resides. Stupid. Get out of here.
Stupid. I'm king. I love Norbit. Norbit, Big Mama's House. That's my shit. That is an art form in itself. That type of comedy.
Yes.
I think, you know what I think about a lot that I don't give enough credit for is the Emancipation of Mimi album. That album,
I respect that.
Like,
I do.
I played the fuck out of that album. Like, I know my mom was pissed off at me because we had her car had a CD player. My dad had a cassette. And so, and the way I put that CD in that car, I know she was tired of me. Every time I got in the car, Mom, can I no, I didn't ask her. I put this CD.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like that, y'all.
Number
Jermaine,
one, out the gate.
Okay.
Like that, y'all. Like that, y'all. Like that, y'all.
Like,
yes.
A fucking bop. Like, out this so good. The music was so good. I think vocally she was in her bag. The entire album. Like, so many fucking good songs. I think that to me is like a piece of art that everyone needs to respect.
I really want to name this episode "Those Chickens Is Ashing on Lotion."
Those chickens is ashing out. What a line! Them chickens is ashing on lotion. Come on! It's like cinema, girl, lyricism. Cinema. Besides that, I also think art is. I was here for the blob tech of it all, okay? The big ass IMAX that was shaped like a wild ass obligon type shit. I was here for that shit. That to me is also art.
Bring it back.
I love the retro futurism. And the colors. And the colors. Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you call them?
Colors. Yes, but no, I agree with you. I was thinking about, so someone had posted, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, someone had posted the Christina Aguilera Come On Over commercial from Sears. And they were talking about how, like, even in her video for Come On Over, the little colors, like it went from the green to the red, and then she was dancing with like the mixture of the two. Yes. And just the idea of like those colors and the circles and just how futuristic, quote unquote, everything from the 2000s.
And I will just say, y'all can hate Christina Aguilera all you want. If I sound like that, you would be sick of me too. Unfortunately, if I had that voice, I'd be
well, same. If I was Mariah, I'd be singing every day. If Christina singing every day, J Hud, all of them.
Y'all would hate
you.
You could never sing like that. Don't you ever come for a girl like that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could not. But yes, I feel you on that. I also just want to say, before we get out of this segment, the best song, okay, the whole album was bomb. I will give it to Mimi, but I will say Circles.
Oh, is it
Fly
Circles?
Like a Bird.
Yes. Circles was a fucking song.
You got me going around in circles over you. Yes, Mariah, baby. The way that song got me through college.
Oof. That and then what's the phone number song. It was like dun 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 dun. Can I get your number? Hey girl, when I went for a moment,
when I get your number, girl. Yeah, that was Pharrell.
Oh yeah. Ooh, she was
Pharrell was on it.
That song was a sexy song to me.
Yes.
Oh, she's sex, baby.
You know what? I'm gonna put that out there. In the coming year, we have to do a full takedown of just that album alone.
Yes. Okay.
Because that album,
honestly, that's the fun thing for us. Do a track by track of several albums throughout next year. That'd be fun.
Because that album, I people know this about me. I'm not a huge Mariah fan per se, but I can also say when I know when something is good, and she literally did her thing on that album. That album is fantastic from top to bottom. That is one of the best albums of the early 2000s. But anyway, all that to say, now that we have scientifically proven that you have been adjusting my seat, we are going to take a quick moment for some advertisements. We will be right back in just a second.
All right, fam, and we are back with this week's category. And unless you live under a rock, which I hope you are not, Patrick Starr, you have heard. I hope everybody understands the joke and doesn't think Patrick Starr, the makeup artist, whom I love very much. They know Patrick Starr.
No, I immediately went to SpongeBob. Okay, sure. Yes.
You have heard everyone and they mama talking about the Warner Brothers plus Netflix merger that is currently on the table, and I think was approved, right? So Netflix has to go through Senate, I believe, to be approved.
It's a whole to do.
It's
still,
for some y'all, it's one big eye roll, but for many creators like John, for example, who started hoping to sell a show one day, it's really, really scary. Why, you might ask? Well, for starters, it raises major concerns about creative control, consolidation, and most importantly, the equity of storytelling. So, I thought it might be good for us to get into a conversation about where we are in the scheme of media, specifically with so many of us wondering, is this just another way to shut Black plus queer creators out? I want to start with your thoughts on the question first. This question. What do you think this merger might say or signal about the future of media consolidation in Hollywood, and why should marginalized creators be paying close attention to it?
Yeah. So this is, I love that we're having this conversation, and I want to shout out, it was actually our editor, Chris, who said that they thought this was going to be a really good topic for us to address. And I know some people will probably hear this and go, ugh, why do we have to talk about it, or why is it important? And I think as much as it may not impact you as a if you are marginalized and you see this kind of stuff, you'll probably go, this is, and you don't work in the industry, you probably just go, whatever, it's just another thing that's happening in media. But there's bigger implications of what this means. And I've always said, I think it's extremely scary when tech starts to cross over into entertainment. And that's exactly what's starting to happen, is that tech is getting way too big and it's starting to swallow up entertainment in a lot of ways. And so I think this question is a great place to start, because I think more than anything, it's talking about control and about who gets a seat at the table to have creative control over their projects. And so imagine a lot of the shows that you love, a lot of the movies that these Netflix, Paramount Plus, HBO, a lot of these movies that are like created for this content, you're going to start to see them shift, and you're going to start to see them change. And even more, the people who are connected to these shows are going to get paid less. And so it's this bigger thing where the monster is getting really big. And we're going to talk more about the monster. What I wanted to kind of equate this to, for people who are listening and are probably thinking, okay, why should Black Fat Femme be worried about this thing? Have you ever heard of Alessor Lexotica? Are you familiar with them?
I am not.
Okay.
Say more.
Good. Good. Okay. So for those who are listening and don't know this, they dominate the glasses, i.e. frame game. So when you go to LensCrafters, when you go to your eye doctor, who just that random eye doctor person that you obviously, Joho, you have on some glasses, even contact lenses. When you go to order all of that, there's one conglomerate, which is the Slur Luxottica, or however you say that.
A slur.
We'll put the link. Yeah, I don't know how to fuck to say
Slur
that.
Exotica.
I hate you, but they literally are, get out of here.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. I love it. Because child, I
said, not you calling it a slur.
Yes, a slur Luxottica. But anyway, it's a very large brand. I think they're either from France or they're from England, or they're somewhere over across the pond. They own every single glasses frame conglomerate. Anything that's related to a glasses, they own. And so that is the reason why all of your shit is expensive. When you go in to get glasses, when you start to say, oh, I need new contact lenses, and you're paying, like me, $120-something a box, it's because Essilor, whatever they're called, Luxottica, they are the ones making that price. And so you can't go anywhere else to get it. The same can be said about television and film. When we get to a place where Netflix, and again, I'm not trying to call Netflix out, Netflix, I know my prayer is to one day have something on your streaming service. My thing is when you start having companies like a Netflix that's saying we own everything that you watch, everything that you where you can access your television and your films per se, it's too big. It is too big. And so that's the same issue I've had with ABC and Disney. I've worked with them in the past, so I don't want to shade them either. But what I'm saying is that there is a problem here when things get too big. And that's literally what's happening. The little people, quote unquote, us, you, the Chris's, all of the people who are wanting to create and wanting to have these people give us money to create, they now own everything and can tell us, no, we don't ever have to do anything with you, or we can pay you pennies and there's nowhere else you can go to make more money. And at one time, Netflix was leading the pack on crafting diverse stories, and now they're not. So with this merger, I think the biggest thing that I've wanted to ask you is, what do you think will happen to niche storytelling spaces under shared brands or content pipelines with all of this and with all that I said?
Oh, girl, a lot
It's
was
a lot.
said. So, okay,
It's a lot.
I love this question because I think it demonstrates the dangers of capitalism and growth.
Yep.
Like when someone becomes
Yep.
too powerful. For such a long time, right? Netflix was really on top of its game, but it's also seen as like the scrappy, like newer startup, right? Like began as a simple platform to bring movies to your door whenever you wanted. Then they led streaming efforts and brought movies and shows to your screen, right? When they switched from DVDs to then the streaming platform on their app. Then they launched original content with shows like Orange is the New Black, which really, to your point, right, led the pack for quite some time. Like, in some cases, like I think Netflix like really earned its keep in spades, right? Like for a good time, it did have the best content out there and won many awards for it with its own films and with shows. And I think you're right. I think it does still have great content, though now it has not great content. And I think it's becoming kind of like it's interesting. Like it has some great content and it has some like
It's
mediocre.
giving TJ Maxx.
Well, like, and I think I think it's in flux. I think it is all about. It gives TJ Maxx. It gives Walmart, it gives Macy's, and it gives Tiffany's. Like, it really depends on what you watch. And so I think,
okay.
But I think it's becoming the very thing it set itself apart from to do in the first place. And so then that's my issue with it, right? So to your question, the consolidation of production companies collapses, in my opinion, the ability to diversify content. Unless Netflix demonstrates somehow interest and investment in diverse storytelling by hiring droves of diverse writers, creators, directors, producers, PA, right? Unless it does that, I think it runs the risk of being just as bad as a monopoly. And it's interesting because I think it frames itself as like being, I think it came out as like the anti-monopoly, and it shows of like what happens when a girl becomes when a girl becomes too powerful. What happens when you fight the machine and then you become the machine, right? Like how many times do we see the history of the oppressed become the future oppressor, right? And like, like, not to like frame it in that way, but like in some cases, I'm like, well, Netflix branded itself as like the scrappy girl who fought its way to tell great stories from diverse lenses, not just to buy one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like studio ever, like. That really is wild. Like
It's scary.
And I mean, in one case, you're like, you can't help but say, "Damn, Netflix! Like you really did that, girl. Like you really set your sights on the big game." But the other part of me is like, you're purchasing, like, you want to purchase that, and so it's like to an end. Like that's what I think about.
To an end.
So let's just say, I do keep wondering, right? When it why would Xi Jinping want to flood my basement?
What if flood my basement and ruin my Bowflex? Yes. To an end. Yes. To an end.
If these platforms merge,
yes.
How might this do you think this might shift representation in front of?
I'm laughing because you literally, I love you so much because you think exactly like me. As soon as you said to an end, immediately my mind was like, to an end.
like you can't not think it. You can't not think
Yes.
it. There are certain things that, there's certain like phrases that if someone says something, my mind always goes to like some pop culture moment. So like that's definitely what I'm like to do. And then, so
why was she shocked Pete?
If these platforms merge, how might this shift representation in front of and behind the camera?
Yes. I think this is so important because, again, I think so many of us are looking around. And so I want to start here and say this before I give my spiel and my thought on this because, again, you all know we have a show flow and there's a lot of thoughts in these show flows around what we're talking about and why we're talking about it. To segue from that real quick, I think the biggest thing for me is that I wouldn't say it's a scary time. I think it is just, it's a very much a moment for folks to start really thinking about, how do we break these machines? Not necessarily break them, because again, I will give it to them. Netflix is still paying people. And while they have been problematic, they continue to do a lot of problematic things and work with a lot of problematic people. I think sometimes we don't zoom out and we don't go, oh, wait, just because this one problematic person is at the forefront of this, we need to take all of this away. And I'm going, no, there are Black and brown and queer and, trans people who are behind these projects that also will lose out if we fully kind of collapse the machine, right? So I think about that. Yes, you can critique the system, but also being intentional about like how do we break it? And I'll be transparent and saying, as a creator who has not broke in and has not seen behind the Oz curtain, I can't tell you, verbatim, you need to go out and do this. But I will say this: I knew that this was coming after the strike. I knew that, and that was part of the reason why I was so scared when everyone was like, we're going to strike. I said, oh, shit. I said, here we go. Because I knew what the strike was about. Yes, it was about pay, and it was also about representation. But also many of the marginalized voices who got out there to march were saying exactly that. We deserve the right to be represented fairly. And I knew that big tech was coming for entertainment, and now the monster is here. And I worry that we won't ever get a chance to be at the table to tell our stories the way we want to now because big tech is now in control, right? They're ultimately still telling people, well, it's no longer about, okay, well, I can go to Warner Brothers or I can go to Paramount or I can go here or I can go there to sell my show. No, it's going to eventually come down to, it literally being because what? Paramount owns HBO. And so it's kind of the same thing like with ABC, right? ABC owns Hulu and they own FX and they own. So it becomes very like, and so when you have folks that are in control that are ultimately saying, I think about it this way, right? Like I love when other people say, oh, this one place didn't buy my podcast, so I was able to go here. Or I went there and they undercut me, so I went over here and I got paid more. Okay, great, right? That dries up. And I worry more than that, right? Thinking about the content that comes out of it. So, right. So, and we're going to be talking about Welcome to Dairy in a second. Like as much as I kid about Welcome to Dairy Online, this show is giving people what people have been asking for years, right? People have been saying we need more horror stories with Black leads. We need more, horror written in the perspective, not from the white eye, from the Black lens, right? And I understand there's a lot of critiques around Welcome to Dairy, which again, we'll get into a little bit later. But what I was going to say, this show is exactly what people have been wanting. And so when you have a Netflix that buys Warner Brothers and then looks at a HBO story like Welcome to Dairy and says, oh, you don't want to change that character? Then Lovecraft Country happens. You get what I'm saying? Like now you start seeing these companies go, well, we don't want that. And I'll be transparent. That's been my biggest critique of 2025. All the Black shows have gone away. Like we have not seen we've gotten blips here and there. We've gotten a couple of Black, characters on shows here and there. But like Black shows, name one. You kind of can't.
You really can't.
And so that gives Netflix the control to be able to do that. So the bigger issue in all of this, and we've talked about this in so many different ways, the bigger issue is what this symbolizes. This merger is going to further concentrate power among a handful of executives who really are going to start undoing kind of like this regime that we're under. They're undoing a lot of the smaller production companies, a lot of the progress a lot of these companies have made. And really the idea that, you don't have the capital to compete. How am I going to make something like a Stranger Things if I don't have the capital, right? And so now I'm working with a production company who has been swallowed up because they can't afford to put out anything that I want to put out the way I want to put out. And so it's just I think people are probably listening to this and going, fuck, like what do we do? And I'll be like I said at the top of my comment to this, I don't know, but I definitely can say like this is, as much as it's a scary time to be alive, it is also a very scary time to be a creator. So yeah, that's my take on it. I don't know what we do.
Well,
What do you think we should be doing?
I mean, one thing I'm thinking about, and I really want to stress to people what the impact of this is, right? Because like
Mm-hmm.
when you think of Warner Brothers, like like I'm sure people just think like, oh, WB, blah blah blah, and like
Yeah, fuck.
there's a network it has, they
Mm-hmm.
have movies, but like they also are kind of like leaders in the like theatrical work, right? Like movies in theaters, and
Yeah.
Netflix's whole mo has been to release films in the comfort of people's homes, which is like a great idea for sure. But some people really crave the movie going experience, and I think there's a huge fear that this
Cinema.
deal with cinema, the huge
Mm-hmm.
fear that this deal will ruin that. You know, it was interesting, like
Yeah.
seeing like how K-pop Demon Hunters got a film release, a really small film release, like a weekend, and so like Netflix has done sometimes like some of their films, if they're so popular, they'll do a film release, which I'm like, I think that's dumb personally. I'm like, that's great, that's wild, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like some people and some movies like are filmed to be played in a theater, right? Like when I think of Sinners, like Sinners
Oh
is
God,
like you
yes.
can't get the impact and truly like there are I love streaming. I prefer streaming over one movie because I hate
Really.
going to like spend money in the theater. But like I'll go because there are certain movies that I know I will not get the same impact if it's not in the theaters. There are more
Right.
movies where I'm like I don't really care about the impact in that way, but like Sinners, Wicked, right? Like
Wicked.
those are
Yeah.
films that like you will not get the same impact via sound, via effects, via visuals if you're in your home. You can have the fanciest TV, but it's not the same. You can have a sound
Right.
bar or a whole surround sound system, but it's not the same as going to the theater to experience it. And there's a bit of a magic that you get that there's. I think there's a fear that be that be taken away from people. I know,
Mm. Mm.
I know, like from my understanding, like in these studios, right? They launch when they have movies in the theaters, and these movies are in theaters for like a month and a half or more.
Yeah.
And I think Netflix's game is like if they from what I read, the CEO says like we'll keep the theatrical stuff, but it'll be shortened to like 15 17 days, right? So
Mm.
2 weeks to see a movie is a lot shorter time than 45 days. Also, right? It's like it could lead to congestion of people, like right? Like I go to the theater like 2 weeks after movie is 2 weeks after movie is released. It's
Yeah.
typically not as busy with people. I go to a theater that's like pretty low key, so there's not really anyone there, and I love it. If you do a film release of only 17 days, by the time you go to the movie,
Yeah.
it may not be there anymore,
It
and
may not
that
be
makes it
there. Yeah.
challenging too. So it's like also if people love going to the movies, this still can very well impact your own experience of how you live your life, right?
Yep.
Right, like this is
Yep.
something that I think about like in the terms of like it's so interesting. I'm doing this leadership program where we're discussing the framework of polycrisis, and polycrisis meaning that multiple crises happen at the same time and how they
Yeah.
intersect, right? And so like there's a crisis of media monopoly and conglomeration, but the other crisis is that it begins to limit another public thing that you might love to do, right? It might limit
Mm.
your public participation in society in some capacity, which is going to the movies with your
Yeah.
friends and having fun. And so I think that's been for people to think about. The question of what do we do, I mean, part of me wants to say creating more work somewhere else or creating new platforms is important and impactful. But
Yeah.
my fear, and of course, if things get popular, Netflix will begin buying up those efforts too so they can control it. And in some cases, I can't be too mad at people for taking the deal and getting their bag. Like, right? Like,
Yeah.
like how many times have we seen like creators of color launch something and then gets acquired by a bigger place to get then get their bag. And I'm like, well, I can't blame you for getting your bag in a world where you won't get your bag by many people. And part of me is like, but you could have maybe done more to support like the work or something. And I think
Right.
you brought up a good point, right? Of Disney buying Hulu, Disney basically buying Hulu, and to me, like, and I think that even that's a little different because Hulu, for a while, Netflix had better movies and Hulu had better TV shows. That's like
Mm-hmm.
how I
Mm-hmm.
saw it, right? And so I think the move to buy Hulu was that they knew Hulu was creating. short form content that people loved. And Disney was like, we're not doing that to that capacity. So we're going
Right.
to absorb Hulu, right? But right. So like, that's like you have a traditional company purchasing a new one.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
the inverse. You have a new company purchasing a traditional one, and that to me is also what like shakes the ground, quite a bit, because that means that like the old guard is changing, which I don't think is inherently bad or wrong, but then the question becomes like when the old dies on and the new comes in, do you actually
Mm.
do you actually want what's coming in the new, or might you actually like some traditions? Now, I kind of want to flip this question back to you as someone who wants to
Yeah.
sell a show, because I'm curious your thoughts on this, right? Like, if you made a show and it was getting big, and Netflix wanted to buy it from you for all it's worth and triple of that, like,
Mm.
what would you do if you made a
Yeah.
small network that when you make the BFF universe and it becomes like this dope experience with multiple shows that
Mm.
really center Black FM creators, and set teams and design teams and tech teams, right? And Netflix is like, hey girl, we'd
Yeah.
love to purchase what you got. Like, what are
Mm-hmm.
you gonna do as the head of that studio?
Yeah. I think you have to be. So I think the biggest thing, and this is what I was going to say, I shout out to Chris because I have been, going back and forth with Chris about little, I'm gonna say little stuff, but things that we both have been dreaming about. For those who don't know, Chris is our editor, but Chris also went to school for directing. And so
Mm,
being that they have the dream of one day directing something, I have the dream of one day selling something slash, like you said, creating a network for all of us to be a part of. And trust and believe, you will be an executive director of something. I don't know what, but one day you will
period.
have an EP credit somewhere. But as we're dreaming this stuff up and as we're thinking about who do we want to include in what, and who do we bring to the table, I think we've been thinking a lot about this idea of having to be okay with, and I think this is where my heart has been, having to be okay with my stuff staying indie or staying small to make a bigger
Mm,
impact. And I hate that, right? Because I do want to eat and I would love to live this bigger and lavish life, the lav life that we all want, right? There's
mm,
this thing of being an American that you want your stuff to be sold and you want it to make good money and you want to be able to put people on and you want to be able to take care of your people. But I'm not going to be that girl that's going to say there's only, and again, if you know me, you know me. There's only one person I've said that I will absolutely never work with. You know who that is. If you know me very closely, I don't have to say it. You know it. Um, but I will say, I think for me, there's going to be a lot. There would have to be lots of conversations about creative control. There would have to be lots of conversations about what that money means, not only for me and my brand, but what it means for the larger good. And I think, I don't want to be that girl that's gonna sit up here and say I'll never work with Netflix. No, I want to eat just like you, girl. Like I want my people to be, I would love to buy my mom a house before my mom meets her maker, right? Like
mm-hmm,
that's where my head is. I would love to know that I could buy you a house through this work, right?
mm-hmm,
All of that shit is real for me. Like I love knowing that I can put people on through my work, but I think it would have to be a lot of heavy, hard conversations about me not just saying yes to a contract because the money is quote unquote good. All money isn't good money, and I've learned that. I mean, even prior to selling this show, right? We were in. I wouldn't say we. I would say I was in talks with someone that I eventually had to say, you know what, this ain't gonna work because A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we ended up on iHeart's network, thank God.
mm-hmm,
But I think daily there's a lot of how do you sleep at night, right? And I
mm-hmm.
think that would have to be the thing for me is like I would have to know that I can go to bed at night knowing that I'm very comfortable with who I am and what I've sold to them. But I will also say this that I'm also in a place now, and I think this year specifically has helped me get there. I'm very much in a place now where I'm also okay with knowing that indie may mean I may not have the money that I in my head want for the that I may not have the dream that has been sold to me about
Mm,
selling a TV show, and I'm like, and maybe that's age. Maybe I'm getting more comfortable as I get older with like, it doesn't always have to be. I may never be Quinta. I may never be, I may never be what's her name from Insecure. I may never be
mm,
Issa Rae. I may never be a Kev on stage. Like I may never be these people, and I have to be okay with that. But I also wonder, and I think about this a lot with people who have done deals with Netflix or in any big brand for that matter. How are those people sleeping at night? And I want to make sure that when I go to bed at night, I'm not feeling like I sold a part of my soul. So, yeah, but
Mm.
I think that's basically it. Like we have to be. I think for me, I think at this time, a lot of us, and I say a lot of us, meaning a lot of the folks that I know who are creators that listen to the show, we have to be okay with our stories being grounded in maybe having smaller budgets and being in smaller pockets because maybe mainstream isn't what it once used to be. And
Mm.
sometimes you could think the devil will come to you with a bag. Ooh, that bag look good. Ooh, that's a cute Louis bag, and it ended up being your death, and wrapped up inside of it. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's where my
I
head has
really
been.
think you're right. Like mainstream is not what it is anymore. Like to your point about like Issa and Quinta, right? Like those were folks who they were just making content just to make content at
Right.
a time where there wasn't content like that at all. Politically, the world was a different place, and so right, like when I think of Issa, I think of misadventures or I think it's just awkward black girl. I think it was misadventures awkward black
Mm-hmm.
girl, but like
Mm-hmm.
like made this YouTube show at a time where there wasn't a YouTube show like that, or Quinta really getting big on BuzzFeed, right? Like it's like there. I think there was like a sweet spot of like media, like content creation, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
BuzzFeed era, Funny or Die era, like,
Yeah.
and that era has changed, and I think it does. It makes it hard because that was an era where there were multiple like avenues to create something, and today there
Yeah.
just isn't. And I'm not saying I'm not, and we're like I think to you're saying like you may have to accept that you won't be those things. And part of me is like that might be true, but I also want to be clear of like that isn't a reflection on you though. That is the goalposts move so much,
Being moved. Yep.
right? Like it
Yep.
moves
Yep.
so much because already all BuzzFeed has changed 180 degrees, if not times three. I don't know if Funny or Die is still a thing. The way the
Mm-hmm.
the top
Mm-hmm.
content you watch on YouTube now, right? Like, isn't the same. Like, nothing is the same anymore. And to both our success and detriment, right? Because success, because
Yeah.
yes, technology moved fast, and now, and it's and you like have more chances to do different things, but the detriment because it moved too fast. People can't keep up, and now you have AI, right? Like now you have like AI creators and AI musicians and AI podcasters and like right like there's this like AI monkey that people like follow. Like we have like almost 1 million followers now. It's an
What?
AI monkey that literally like does her makeup and like speaks Spanish. Now and I'm like, it's a fucking monkey. Like, this is not real. And I'm like, why are we following this person, right? Like, so it's like the goalpost moved, the field changed, like
Mm.
everything changed,
Yeah.
especially in the past 5 years. And now politically, we changed because now it's not even cute or fun to say you want to do DEI work either, right? So
Nope.
now all the performance that we saw before is also gone.
Yeah.
And then instead of just using like machine learning to make it's really hard inside. And so I think to that point, like, yes, we have to be okay with our stories being grounded in different ways or in smaller pockets or in smaller platforms. But I think also there's also a rise in the movement for that too. People are wanting to return to smaller things. People
Yeah.
are wanting to return to more intentionally made content. People are wanting to return more thing right. Like that's why like digital cameras are back. Right. People love
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
handheld
That's
digital
actually a really good
cameras.
point.
People like
Mm-hmm.
I think we are seeing. I think a majority of people more like more than we know. People want to return to a time that felt more simple and it wasn't advancing so fast that we couldn't keep up. I think there's a level in which we have to like go hand in hand. Like I recently watched Megan 2.0, which I
Mm-hmm.
actually thought was really good.
It was
But I
cute.
and I
It was
think
cute.
I think like they made a great point by the end of the film of like AI is coming whether we want it to or not. So we have to figure out a way to be hand in hand with it, right? Like we can't
Right.
find it, we can't stop it, we can't say we can't say do not let's go, but we have the choice to say how can we work alongside it to make sure
Mm,
we have equitable and ethical and safe AI practices that don't ruin the world. And
mm,
I think it's really a small percentage of people who want that advancement to ruin lives, or right, or don't, or they
yeah.
won't stop. And I think they control more of the wealth in the world. But I do think that the majority of people don't want that, and I think we will see a return to smaller indie spaces. I mean, we're seeing that in so many ways with like community spaces, right? We're seeing people are fleeing big venues for small venues because I know
Hmm.
it's important that we have these spaces for us to thrive. So I'll just say I think it's just like it's a
My
hard
God.
it's a hard not life, girl. It's a hard not life
Yes.
for us.
Hmm. Hmm.
But something bad. Well, okay. Now that we
I was not prepared for that.
when,
Something
bad.
bad.
When someone says when someone's like that's bad, I'm like something bad. Oh, let's just say, y'all, now that we are ready to cut the internet cables and possibly some more cables, we're gonna take another
Oh my
break to
God.
pay some more bills, and we'll be back with more show in just a sec.
All right, y'all, and we are Black with More show. And this week, we have mentioned it quite a few times, but we decided that we are going to go ahead and we're going to go down to dairy.
Ooh,
Maybe, I would say I'm a little obsessed. I think I am. And I'll say this, I don't like clowns. I really don't like clowns.
girl,
But I think it is just it's it for me, and Welcome to
it's
Dairy
it.
only
At
adds
the
to
clown.
that and show she literally is officially that girl. And so this week, what we're gonna do in our What's Poppin' segment, I didn't want to just talk about why we love the show Welcome to Dairy, because it's really easy. We could sit here for another 20-30 minutes just going off about why the show is great. But I wanted to tap on a few things that I think folks can take away from shows like Welcome to Dairy, and what folks should be paying attention to as we continue. Because I know a lot of us, right? We watch TV, we critique our television, we critique the films, we go out, the directors and the people who are making this content, they're paying attention. A lot of them, as much as they try to act like they don't, they're in the comments on threads,
Yeah.
they're on Instagram, they are, they're going through Twitter, even though ain't nobody over there. They go through it, and they love to know what people are thinking about their stuff. And so with that being said, I wanted to ask you this week, beyond the show being absolutely fantastic, and again, I might be biased because I just love the franchise as a whole, I wanted to ask, how, in your opinion, does this show kind of tie back into the topic from the last segment? But more specifically, how is this show actually making responsible and entertaining TV? That was actually a point you made in our pre-show, how this show is doing that. And so I
Yeah.
would love to get your thoughts on that.
So first, I'll say that I had put off watching Dairy, not because I wanted, just because I just didn't have the time. And then like last weekend,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I'm free. I'll just watch an episode. And my roommate was like, it's very slow the first episode, but I promise you, like it gets better. And she's not a horror person. Like she will actively close her eyes during horror scenes, or like she has no problem fast forwarding an entire scene that she's never seen before. I literally want to scream when she does that, because I'm like, why would you fast forward the scene? Like, I'm trying to watch it, like, but she has no problem doing it. And so, but I'll have to say, she's sat on every episode. She's like watching this whole thing, and she's been watching it without me, which I've been very surprised, because I'm like, you don't love this type of stuff. And so I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll start watching it. And so I really watched it like last Sunday, like all of 7 episodes. We watched the new one together, and then obviously the finale is this Sunday as well. And I think what's the new I don't know who's in the writers room or anything, so I hope it's never aired too. But I think the show, I think it makes it. I think like what the show is doing really well is that it's exploring the pressures of people of color in a period piece, right? Because this technically is a period piece. It's taking place in the 50s or 60s, whatever. But it's not going deep into the traumas, and it is in some ways like it's
Mm.
being real, and like it's not being postmodern, post-racial, but it is being like a bit more utopian in some ways, right? Because like you have the Colonel Shaw, who who's like, listen, like Albert, like you're telling what's his name, the fine ass dad,
The dad. I don't know his name, but I know what you're talking about.
and telling him like he's like, I see, like you're great at your job.
Is his
Like,
name James? Is his name James?
is it Jerry? Jared? Something.
Jerry.
Maybe
It's
Jerry.
one of them, but
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
A J
yes.
name for sure, whatever his name is. But like, but he, Hanlon, the
Hanlon, yes,
Hanlon
yes.
dad. He
Uh-huh.
like the Colonel Shaw is being nice to him. Hanlon's experiencing racism from other people, and Shaw is like, I won't tolerate this from anybody. Like, no one should, right?
Right.
So it's like, and so I think answering, and like no one, and I love the wife. Miss Hanlon, down.
Oh,
Live
yeah.
out, love her. She's my favorite character.
Yes,
I love that
she
she
is
is-
doing what needs to be done.
And all about
Yes.
making good trouble. I live, laugh, love her so much. And I think what's
Yes.
responsible, right, is like it's not shying away of like she's a black woman in America. This is a black family. They're experiencing racism in many ways. Both
Girl, I was
micro,
so far out. Hold on, not to cut you off. His name is Leroy.
Leroy
Hanlon.
Leroy
and the wife's
Hanlon.
name is Charlotte. How did we?
Charlotte.
Child Leroy. That's such a nigga
that
name,
is
but I
a
love
black
it.
name. Leroy Hanlon. Also, can you
Yeah.
talk about how Charlotte looks like Laverne Cox?
She does.
And
She
I was
does.
like, Laverne Cox in this show? She's not. But
No.
like, they don't shy away from what they say. She worked in the movement back where they were in the South before, and
Right.
now they're here, right? And like they're still like working through racism in some ways. Will, their son, who I will, by the way, if y'all have watched the movies, there is a connection between the show and the movies in prequel,
Yes.
because Will, I
Will
believe,
is the
Mike's
grandfather.
his grandfather of Mike, who is a main character in the two films. Several people, because also Eurus, right? Eurus, I think, what's his name? Stanley Eurus. It's probably
Yeah.
the Eurus family, the ones who died in the first episode, which honestly that took me out. I was like, you should have this nice Jewish
Yeah.
family and then kill them off. Crazy. But also say, I think the show does a good
Yes.
job of not doing too deep into traumas, but demonstrates like what it looks like to be authentic in what Black folks may experience at this time. Also, right, like the character of Ricardo, who is Cuban American, so he's not white, but he's like passing in some ways, but he still like experiences othering from the white folks, and in his work. I'm still mad about it.
My baby.
My
My
baby.
baby.
And the show involves indigenous storylines, right? Without taking agency away from them and their show, right? Like, doesn't take agency away like from their impact on the show. And I think that's really great too. It's demonstrating like, oh wow, you can have a great show and with great stories without being problematic as a storyteller. And I really find that amazing. And like really, right, like the indigenous tribe there is actually a part, not just part of the town, but it's a part of the actual lore of the right, you get part of the lore that actually begins to make context for the entire film too. And you're like, oh, this is actually really dope.
This makes sense.
And
Yeah.
it shows what goes to show what happens when white folks don't listen to Native Americans who try to tell them to
Now
stop.
let's
doing
talk about
crazy
it. Let's
shit.
talk
Like,
about it. Yeah, I mean, because obviously them natives have been trying to warn these white niggas for literally decades, saying leave those pillars alone, don't go over there, stop. And again, even the man, the colonel, whatever his name
Yeah.
is, like him not listening. And obviously we're going to give spoilers away because you can't talk about
Yeah.
this without giving spoilers away. But I definitely agree with you so much that I think, beyond this show being, I think it's and I will say this, I've seen some critiques online. One of the biggest critiques is obviously Stephen King loves a magical Negro. Yes, that is true. A lot of his work involves a lot of, black people with powers and all of that. He loves a magical Negro. Okay, we can leave that there. But I will say, I think that this show is such a masterclass when we start talking about storytelling, right? Throwing it back to the original, being able to keep people still locked into a story that has been around for ages. I mean, it has been around since the 60s, right? Like the book has been around for ages and people are still, the original series of it came out in the early 90s. And so now we're getting ready to go into what? Almost 25, 30 years and people are still talking about this as if it's brand new. And I think for me, that for me tells me you are a legacy storyteller when you can still get people young and old who are very much still wrapped up in this story. Something I mentioned earlier in our show that I truly love outside of just the storytelling is that it's the same reason why I love Sinners. I genuinely believe that this show, as I've been watching it, has been a cautionary tale for Black people about the desire that so many of us have to be like the oppressor and more, right? I think this idea, and please, I hope I don't sound ridiculous when I say this. I always say that. I hope I don't sound foolish. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. But stop inviting eggshell people to the cookout. Like, I think we really need to get to a place where we need to start understanding, like that scene in the juke joint in the last episode, right? That scene before all of the stuff happened with what happened in the juke joint, and I don't want to give it away too much. But what I will say is, it's very much like that Sinners scene, right? It's this idea that Black people, and I'm still mad that we didn't get to do a whole episode about this, but here we are. This idea that Black people need their own space. Black queer people need their own space. And I think when you really start peeling the onion layers back to the show, it's really about that. What happens when you go into spaces that you're not supposed to be in? Thinking about the Colonel and going into the Native American spaces, thinking about digging up in spaces that are not supposed to be touched, right? Going onto land, like even thinking about the it really is a take on colonialism. When you think about people coming into spaces and thinking that they have the best interest and that they know the best, the demons that they unleash. And so, I mean, I even think about the Black man who is hiding out, right? He brought white people to that place. Like, it's as much as, again, I hate to say it, he is the reason for what happened in this last season or this last episode. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people want him to die. There are a lot of people on the interwebs that are like, it should have killed his ass because.
Well, no. I don't want to blame him. I want to blame his girlfriend, Miss Ingrid. Because she's the one who tipped
both ends.
She tipped them off.
Both ends.
It was her idea to put him there, which I think was totally fine. They would, if she had not tipped off that he was there, which was all her. She set the whole thing up, and she set him up. I will stand by.
But again, him frolicking with her is what put him in that position.
Well,
that's when I said.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not
listeners.
Wrong. You're not wrong, because in that scene where Miss Shar was like, a white woman, and he was like,
white,
yes, and I was like, the scandal, a married white woman at that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, you're not wrong.
Just messing up, but again.
Right.
The my take on all of this is, even though shout out to Jaden XD, they say that they want segregation back. I don't fully know if I believe that sentiment, but what I will say is there are moments and spaces and places where it needs to just be us, and I genuinely believe that this show wraps like they go into a deeper dive of why this show is so good because I guess I'll end my thought by saying I love this show because it truly shows us what happens when you let marginalized people lead a show. This show is not just good because of the writing. The writing is fantastic. I will give credit where credit is due. What's his name? The Scar boy, what's his name? Billy Bob?
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, Bill, Bill, fantastic as Pennywise, doing his damn thing. When he jumped off that refrigerator, I said, my God, because the only thing I can think about is that nigga is 6'6".
Yeah.
So for him to be on top of that refrigerator, jumping off of it the way that he did, the way I would have literally probably screamed as someone working on that set. So he's so fine. But that's a whole nother conversation.
When you said the clown's fucking these kids up, I was like, what does this mean? And I was like, oh, this clown's fucking these kids up.
He is fucking these kids up.
I'll also say one thing I'm thinking about a lot too that I appreciate about this is like again, the show also demonstrates like what these groups also grapple with too, right? What this Black family is grappling with, right? Like you have a wife who wants to dedicate her work to the movement of civil rights.
Yeah.
And the husband, when she came at him and what'd she say? That she came at him and she said some shit like, I'm just doing what, like I'm just doing what is my right in this country that you love to serve so much. Like, I was like, girl, get his ass, girl, get
Oh,
his
yes.
ass, get his ass, because
Yes.
like in her friction, right, like his friction with her, with him, like being a black man in the army, knowing that the army, like the government is not safe for black folks, but also trying to like make it better for black folks. I'm assuming, and his wife, his frustration, his tension with her,
Yep. Yep.
doing the movement that is upsetting the government, right? But also for her to like be like, I love my husband, but he represents the entire system that I'm fighting against, right? That's one show
Right.
that I love, that tension. The tension in the Native American community, right? Of there's a character there. She's not a big character yet, but she's asking like, why are we complacent every 27 years? Like, why don't
Yeah.
we do something else to stop this thing, right? Whereas Rose character represents this like old way, right? The traditional way of saying, for centuries now we have kept the thing in its cage with what our ancestors did, and we accept that every 27 years it will take some kids into one grand night of bloodshed, and then it'll sleep
Mm-hmm.
again, right? But there's someone who's also like, but why are we accepting and settling for this too? And
Right. Right.
I really love that tension in this show, because it also
Mm-hmm.
demonstrates, right? Like, there actually isn't much story or plot line for the white folks. The plots are all through the black folks and all through the Native American folks, right? They have to reckon with a lot of different tensions that they have where they are and with who they are. Because part of me
Yep.
is like, yeah, why are y'all sitting on this creature every 27 and a half years for this bitch to come back and eat people? And like why don't you do something with this, right? And so I think
Right. Right.
like the show is like really like, I don't know, like I love a show where it's like you watch it and you think the white folks are the focal point, but you know that they're not. You know that they're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks like they
Mm-hmm.
might be because they have so much screen time, but you know they aren't the emotional drivers of the story, and that's
So
really good.
I will also, now that I'm hearing you talk about it, I'm just gonna say this. It is also interesting to watch, yeah, the whole conversation around Pennywise and what's happening in this town, but the thought or the idea, now walk with me, that the white people are just as evil and terrible as Pennywise, right?
Yes.
People are like that's an interesting dichotomy that I'm actually, the more I watch the
Well,
show.
you are what you eat.
With that being said, we you uh,
What's 4 plus 4?
well,
Listen.
eight, eight.
And did.
Mm.
And did.
I my last thought on that will be, I just pray that if this merger happens, that we get a season 2, because
Same.
Netflix loves to cancel the show.
Girl.
Netflix, the one
Well,
thing they'll do.
because it's on HBO too.
HBO is under Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers will eventually be under Netflix. I also am interested to see how long shit's going to be held up for, because a lot of the shows that we love that are already Penguin, all of the shows that everyone's like really in on HBO
You know what?
Max.
If they bring back Legendary, I'll have nothing to say.
Yeah, I'll be
If
quiet.
they bring back, I'll be quiet. If they bring back
Mhm,
Legendary and you give it new seasons, I'll
mhm.
be quiet. I'll say, no,
I won't
Netflix.
even say anything else.
Period.
Do what? Do your thing, girl.
Do your
Do your
thing,
thing.
girl. Do your
I
thing.
mean, they already saved Found, so we're getting a new season of Found. So, I mean, fuck my life. But anyway, all that to be said, I just pray that this show doesn't get canceled, because this show is cinema. Like, it literally is what I like. Every time I watch it, I go, I want to write this. Like, this is what this is what I eat, breathe, and sleep as a writer when I watch shows like Welcome to Derry. So, yeah.
Joey also Joey put in the chat. He'd rather on HBO Max. No. It's not HBO Max. It's a Crave Canada. Thank you. Don't get twisted. Fuck, that's
Okay.
not an HBO show. That's a Canadian
So
show.
Crave, and then it's distributed on
exactly.
HBO.
Thank you, Canada.
Okay.
Canada.
Thank you, Canada.
For your service. Okay. Don't get twisted.
Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Canada. Well, with that being said, we got one more break to take. And when we get back, we are going to be serving up y'all's favorite dish. No pun intended. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, Pam will be back in a jiff. All right. And we are back We're going to jump into our yes ma'am and our no ma'am Pam this week. This week, mines are very short, very straight to the point. My yes ma'am, Jasmine Crockett, period. Yes, everybody, oh, Jasmine, fuck y'all. She literally is the politician that so many people need to be. And I don't care what you say about that black lady. She's walking the walk and she's talking the talk. Everything that she says that she's going to do, she has done. Everything that she continues to say that she's going to do, she already done had hers. And so I personally stand behind Jasmine Crockett. If I ever get a chance to vote for her, I know that she's in Texas and I know that there's a whole bunch of stuff. I know she's running for the Senate, right? Do we get to vote for the Senate?
By state, so it would not be for us.
Fuck. Okay, yeah. If I ever get a chance to vote for her for anything, I'm gonna vote for her. Just like Mr. Mondani, who I still want on the show, who I still want to get. I saw a video of a woman. So, do you follow the lady on Instagram / TikTok who blows kisses to people on the New York subway?
Not at all.
She's a sweetheart. I commented on one of her videos and she followed me and I followed her back. And then we've been kikiing ever since. But anyway, all that to be said, there's one where she was blowing a kiss to Mayor Mondani and she didn't know it was him. I swear to God, I said, if I was in that situation, they would have had to stop that train because I would have lost my whole goddamn mind. Such a fan. But anyway, all that to be said, Jasmine Crockett, I'm sending you my love, sending you protection because I know that this world is trash to black women. Mm-hmm. And I definitely hope and pray that everything that she does, she can accomplish because she is that girl. My no man Pam. So I want to revisit my no man Pam because I actually got quite a few notes about this in particular. So remember last week when I was going off about the hotel and the parking and why hotels charge for parking when you're already paying. I actually had someone jump into my DMs. They said I could say their name, but just to be on the safe side, I'm not going to say their name because I know that they work for a very large corporation and I don't want to fuck up their bag. But they actually said, so they work for Hilton. And they said, and I'm hoping Hilton, I know I talked a lot of shit last week. Please still sponsor the show. We would love to go on a little vacation tour, a little trip with the Hilton brand, IHG behind us. We would love for that. So please go ahead and send us a couple of coins. But she made a really good point. She basically had said, and I know that they probably, like I said, they'll never sponsor us, but I think it's the general consensus that I got from the people who responded to my No Man Pam last week. They said that everyone's basically just tired of being nickeled and dimed to death. And so the response was, they noted that hotels often nickel and dime guests with extra fees because of how the industry is structured. Resort fees are largely unjustified in urban hotels since they rarely cover genuine amenities. Parking is usually charged separately because most hotels don't own or manage their parking lots. They outsource them to avoid liability for damage and theft. More hotels, around 85%, this is what the person is telling me, are independently owned or operated under franchise agreements. Giving each property flexibility with brand guidelines, local law and lobbying efforts heavily influence what hotels can charge, which is why pricing practices vary in city to city, and thus why in Las Vegas, it's fucking astronomical, not only just to park, but also to get a hotel on certain times and certain days. This person noted that in markets like Atlanta, industry associates, i.e. Asian Hoteler Association, hold major sway over these local regulations as municipalities prioritize tourism revenue. So, 1, niggatry in motion. 2, capitalism, but also 3, this is why it's so important for y'all to be paying attention to what's going on in your local cities and in your counties. When you go, oh, I don't need to go to no city meeting, or I don't need to go talk to the board. Yes, you do. Because the reason why we're being charged the way we're being charged for parking and for hotel costs and stuff is because they know that they can do it and no one's paying attention to it. That's basically what I heard from that response. And so I think it's imperative. Like, I guess that's my way of saying, like, and another thing, people talk about, oh, none of this shit affects me. Yes, it does. Because when your city taxes go up and when you can't afford, or when you come to Las Vegas and you can't afford a hotel, that's the reason why. Because people are going, oh, it doesn't affect me. It has nothing to do with me. So shout out to that person who responded. They know who they are. I love you. Like I said, I didn't say her name on the show because I don't want it to get back to anybody you work with that you responded. But I say all of that to say, fuck hotels. Fuck companies who are charging all of these astronomical fees. Yeah. And then the only other No Man Pam I have this week is... I don't know what's going on, but the way people are driving. the way
Yes.
people are driving. Because, baby, it's not that serious. It really ain't that serious. I don't know if you saw the story that came out. Shout out to the family that this happened to. Not trying to trigger anybody, but there was a story, I guess, here in SoCal. A man, specifically a white man, was so upset that he pulled his gun out and shot at a car and killed the driver's stepchild in the back seat. And I just want to say it is never that fucking serious. Like, I don't know why people have road rage. It's just not. It's not in me. I don't care. Yeah, you cut me off. Okay.
Yeah.
Long as you didn't try to kill me, and like I don't care. It's just But I mean, shout out to that family. I'm really sorry that happened. But it's just like I just say that to say, like, especially at this time of year, like it's not that serious. So like, yeah. Just please chill out. But anyway, what are your yes ma'ams and your no ma'am pams for this week?
Oh, that is maddening as fuck. Wow.
Yeah.
My yes ma'am is going to be silly, but like my yes ma'am is to being Jewish because this weekend starts for the first time of Hanukkah, Chanukah, as our
Chanukah, yes.
Says, which I'm very excited for. I'm gonna get my latkes on.
I don't know who Chanukah is.
I know what Chanukah is. 6 feet out still. I'm going to make me some latkes this next week. I'm very excited.
Now, what's that, baby? What's a latke? Is that bread?
Potato pancakes. That's challah.
Okay.
Challah's the bread.
Now, are we eating the matzo ball soup?
No, that's for Passover, but we could if we wanted to.
Okay.
But for Passover. So Hanukkah.
Only for Passover.
So Hanukkah is really not a major holiday, and it's really an interesting, sad story of the Maccabees, which was like this group of, one would say rebels. The Maccabees. Some people would say yes. Some people would say that they're rebels who basically fought to keep the temple open and keep it from being desecrated, and they lit. And the miracle of Hanukkah is that they lit the candle. They lit this olive oil candle that's supposed to last one night, and that one night of candle liquid lasted for 8 nights. That's became a miracle. That's one.
So that's why you celebrate it for 8 days.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, on the menorah or Hanukkah. And then the Maccabees are like some say they're heroes, some say they could be incels. So it really depends on who you ask, to be quite honest. But I'll have to say, love this holiday for funsies. Love latkes. It's a time where you make a lot of fried stuff. So you make like donuts. You made sufganiyot, which is like a donut with like a jelly filling or something, with jelly filling, all the fillings. You make latkes. It's so good. If I lived near you, I'd be like, come over, baby. Let me fry you up some potato pancakes. They're just so good. I make some good ones. So I say so myself. So yes.
Will you be doing Yisrael chai? I see that's a thing.
I know you're just playing with me. There's no way. You say Yisrael chai, Yisrael chai, and so Yisrael is, oh my God. Oh! So hi.
Yes, bitch.
Yisrael chai is a Hebrew phrase that it means the nation of Israel lives, and to some people it means like literally. To some people it means like just like the Jewish people. It's not something that I.
So it's not a drink.
It's not a drink. I don't know who said chai is chai, which means life or to live. So
Did your so Chester? Ooh, that sounds tasty. Cause I don't know nothing about that. I don't know what y'all do over there. I know I'm ignorant as fuck right now, but I literally was just like, ooh, chai. I know that's right.
Israel chai is sending me to a different dimension that I did not foresee coming. All I have to say, so that's my yes ma'am. My no ma'am is that I just hate people. I just hate people. I hate people.
It's the way you didn't even. I'm sorry. It's the way you didn't even entertain me anymore. You're like, I'm fucking over this. Let's move on.
There's there comes a time really. There's just nothing to say anymore. You're like, I hate people who desecrate my culture.
I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
I hate people because I'm like, for those who don't know, I own a condo and I'm on the HOA board of that condo, and I don't live in that condo anymore. I rent somewhere else. It's a whole thing, but being on HOA is not for the weak, and people be having a lot of things to say that really have nothing to do with you, and your role is sometimes just therapist. But then when they escalate things and they're like, well, you say XYZ and I'm like, whoa, I never said that, girl, let's calm down. Like, we're not gonna do something crazy. And I just hate people because I just wish people understood better what the fuck they're doing, what the fuck to do. So it's just everybody. But all to say, live off love the world.
Yes, God. Well, with that being said, I love us so much. And also love the people who also sends us comments. So please send your thoughts, your feedback, your emails to blackfatfempod@gmail.com. If there's anything in this episode that you want to respond to, if there's anything you heard that we're a little off of, if you want to give us feedback about your thoughts about that merger. I know a lot of us have a lot of things to say on socials. And we love your thoughts. Yeah, so please send them over to us, blackfatfempod@gmail.com. You can also send us your thoughts via social media by interacting with our post on Instagram and Threads by using the handle blackfatfempod. You have to spell BLK Fat Fem Pod. You'll find us if you Google us, because Instagram and the Facebooks, they like to play in our face. But anyway, with that being said, Queen Joho, where can the dolls find you this week?
Of course, as you do every week, babies, you can find me Joho Daniels across all socials. My website, JohoDaniels.com. If not there, you will find me hiding from this bottle of Sir Davis as it chases me down the street, because it is making me fight for my life right now. Woo, girl.
I went away too long. Every time I see that clip, or every time I think about Sir Davis, I think about that clip from her concert, and her sitting in that chair with them robots pouring her a glass of Sir Davis. So, but yes, definitely, shout out to Sir Davis for keeping you litty to titty during this episode.
I'm not that litty,
and please, promise. Sir Davis. Yes, Sir Davis. Sponsor the show. We'll drink.
Listen. If you give me a cocktail, girl, I'll make a cocktail real quick with it. Like, I got you.
Yes. Hello. When you went to the concert, did you stop at that little booth where they were making?
Yes, those were delicious. So I need to do that, because by itself is deathly. I need to make. Thank you for reminding me of that. You're
I had one sip and I said, "Oh, this will not be something I drink straight." I know that's right.
Girl.
But as for me and for mine, you can find me on socials. Thread is where I've been living and popping off these last couple of days. So you can find me on Threads using the handle @drjohnpaul. And then you can also find me at www.drjohnpaul.com. That's where you can find info about my book. You can find more information about all of the things that are coming our way in terms of BFF, the universe, all of the different things. Announcements. You can find announcements there. Love is, all I can say is, your girl, Love is under new management. Yes. So
how you doing? How you doing?
And other things are coming and popping up before 2026 too. So, all that to be said, any of those big announcements you can find over there. Make sure you watch the ABC spot, Our America, Who I'm Meant to Be. You can also catch other stuff too. I'm on Fuse, Netflix, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, check the website to find out more information about that. All that to be said, we want to thank our super producer, Joey Pat, for making this shit pop today and every week. Day. Here over on the Black FM podcast. We also want to shout out iHeartMedia for keeping the show up and running, because we know, honey, they could turn off the lights.
Don't give them no ideas.
I'm not giving them not one, honey. So thank you for keeping us up and running. We also want to shout out our wonderful editor, Chris Rogers, because without him, we would not have no audio or visuals for Down to the Tubes of You. This has been another show. Stay black, fat, femme, and fabulous. And remember what, Joho?
Oh, we may not be your cup of tea, girl, but it's okay. Add some whiskey to it. Put some hair in your chest, bitch. You need some anyway.
Yeah, drink a sip of that Sir Davis, baby. It'll get you festive.
Tea, and we rode motorcycles.
That
I had to be.
Yes. Let's go. And even if he hold me not to cry, oh, my daddy's issue. Oh, my daddy's fish. Yes. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.